Hello everyone, I'm your extraordinary host with the most, Colorado's rising star, Nerdtron, and I would like to welcome you to a new series I like to call From Casual to Combatant. In this series, I thought I would help new players get into GuiltyGear Strive and other fighting games, since I'm relatively new to the GuiltyGear franchise, but not new to fighting games as a whole. I feel that I should share my knowledge and experience with you in order to make you a combatant. What? You thought I was going to make you a pro? This game's only been out for like 8 months. There's no way an average person is a pro by now. I said average person. These guys have been playing GuiltyGear for 20 plus years. Well, for those of us who aren't gods of this game, I welcome you to my channel, and I hope this series helps. Let's start off this new series with GuiltyGear's guilt-ridden guild, Soul Badguy. Alright, before we get into the gameplay of Soul Badguy, let's talk about his history. Soul Badguy was once a human known as Frederick Balsara. He was a researcher along Oscar R. Kreutz and Aria Hale. Even though they were doing different assignments, they all studied magic and the nature of humanity. He eventually developed a relationship with Aria until she came down with a fatal disease known as a TP infection. Oscar, being the perfect wingman that he is, decided to not only convert Frederick into a magically enhanced human known as a gear, but also do the same to Aria, but turn her into a mech for some reason. And through this process, Soul Badguy is not only super strong, he also has a healing factor, his fire magic is enhanced, and he's practically immortal. After fighting a war that spanned 100 years and almost ended humanity, killing Aria on 2 separate occasions, and then saving the clone of Aria, Soul now travels the world as a bounty hunter with said clone, and sometimes his grandson Sin. See? Told you he was a gilf. And now let's talk about his design. And in terms of appearance, yeah, Soul screams protagonist. I mean, he wears red, has a headband, multiple belts, and uses fire magic. I mean, that's anime protagonist one-on-one. However, the uncouth would say he's a self-insert, while us GuiltyGear loreheads know that Soul Badguy is a giant reference to the rock band Queen. His headband says "Rock You" after one of the most famous songs. His actual name is Frederick, an allusion to Freddie Mercury. And Soul Badguy is a reference to Freddie Mercury's solo album, The Bad Guy. So, a lot of thought and care went into designing this character all the way back in the 90s, which makes you think about the level of detail Daisuke goes into when creating each and every character in the GuiltyGear franchise, which I can't wait to discover through this series. But enough dilly-dallying, let's get into Soul Badguy's gameplay style. Okay, so bandit revolver. With fire-based attacks, high damage, and ruthless pressure, Soul Badguy is the type of character that loves to be in their opponent's face. However, with all characters, Soul has his pros and his cons. Pros: high damage, high defense, oppressive, and well-rounded. Cons: he needs to be up close and personal to take advantage of these pros, and he has basic and risky offense, meaning that when his opponent learns to play neutral and what attacks can be interrupted, it's kinda bad for Soul. Commands: when I'm discussing certain actions, I'll be using this as a numerical reference. Just pretend that 5 is your analog stick and it hasn't been moved. Buttons: GuiltyGear divides its attacks into punches, kicks, slash, heavy slash, and ducks. Actions: in order to do certain commands and certain special moves, you'll have to move your analog stick in those directions while pressing the attack buttons. In the examples you can see to the right. All in all, we can say that Soul has protagonist privilege. First off, we have Soul's 5P. It can hit crouching opponents despite its animation, with the exception of May, Faust, Melia, Ramlethal, Giovanna, Angie, Jacko, and Chaos. Fast startup at 4 frames, but it's -2 on block, so I'd probably use it to stagger opponents and interrupt, their attacks. You can combo into 5P, 2P, 6P, 6S when the opponent is crouching, and 6H. Remember, S and H stand for slash and heavy slash. And here's a basic combo that you can do with Soul's 5P. Next we have Soul's 5K. Has a 3-frame startup to make it Soul's fastest normal. However, it's -14 on block, so be careful how you use it. It hits 2 times, both hits being jump and dash cancelable, and can combo into 6P, 6S, 6H, 5D, and 2D. It can also be used as a good anti-air, so if your opponent is jumping too much, you can use this to get them out of it. And here's another basic combo that you can do with Soul's 5K. Up next is Soul's Close Slash. It is jump and dash cancelable with 7-frame startup and is +3 on block. Very versatile since it can cancel into another action at any point during recovery. Hitting a grounded opponent will put them in a unique stun animation that allows for follow-up attacks as if the opponent was airborne. Can link into 5K on normal hit or into itself, and Night Raid Vortex on counter hit. It can also combo into 6P, Far Slash, 2S, 6X, 5H, 2H, 6H, 5D, and 2D. And here's another basic combo that you can do with Close Slash. Then we have Soul's Far Slash, or what we used to call it before patch 1.09, some more bullshit. Okay, let me explain to you this move. It was one of the most frustrating things for new players, myself included. It was literally press button and win. There were times where you did a sweep attack and you would still get hit. Like, the fuck Arc System works. Oh god, even in the patch notes, they had to address this. Like, yeah, now it loses to standing P and sweeping attacks? Thanks, had to deal with this for like 3 months. However, it was managed, they brought Soul back to mortality for a little bit, and now you can deal with the character if you play smart. With that being said, Far Slash now knocks opponents away on air hit, 10-frame startup, but it's +2 on block, brings you closer to the opponent with the exception of Flawless Defense, another patch included, links into 5K in multiple situations, links into itself, Close Slash or Night Raid Vortex on counter hit, and can combo into 5H and 2H. So next up, we have Soul's 5H. It has 11-frame startup and is -5 on block, so I probably wouldn't use it if your opponent is blocking a lot. It knocks the opponent away when hit and gives a slight ground bounce if the opponent is hit in the air, and it wall bounces an airborne opponent if you're in the corner. On counter hit, the slowdown carries on for long enough so that Soul can link his Close Slash after a hit confirmed Bandit Revolver, from this note. And here's a combo that you can do with Soul's 5H. And lastly, there's Soul's 5D. Now, like the rest of the cast, the Dust attack has a charged and uncharged version. So, the uncharged version will just stun the opponent for a moment, allowing for a follow-up. And in Soul's case, it can Gatling from 5K, 2K, or Close Slash for a mix-up. Now, for the charged version, it allows you to send the opponent flying and allow you to do some air combos. As you can see, my air combos are trash in this next clip, but just to give you a relative idea of what you can do. Now, there are other options and attacks that Soul Badguy can use based on what directional input you put in. But I want you to play the character and discover each one for yourself. You know, how they work, what's their advantage or disadvantage. But that doesn't mean I won't show you Soul's special moves. Like the protagonist he is, Soul Badguy brings the heat with an arsenal of flame attacks that allows him to keep up the pressure and deal heavy damage to his opponent. First up, we have Soul Badguy's Gunflame, basically his Hadouken. And for you new people in FGC, 236 is usually a fireball motion, so just remember that. In this attack, Soul releases a pillar of flame that slowly crawls along the ground. Properties include launches opponent on hit and counter hit for the entire duration. It has 20 frame startup and is -8 on block, and damage goes from 40 to 35 to 30. What's special about this move is that the purple roaming cancel can be applied to it, which is allowed for a tricky mix-up, as you can see in this next clip. Next up, we have Gunflame Feint. Soul assumes the same stance he uses for Gunflame, but doesn't, project fire. Basically, it builds a small amount of tension gauge, has a faster recovery than the real Gunflame, making it useful for resetting pressure or baiting jump-ins. But I probably wouldn't use it because when you're defenseless in a fighting game, it's kind of a bad thing. So only use it to trick your opponent. Up next, we have Volcanic Viper, aka Soul Shoryuken. It has two different versions and properties for each. First off, it's invincible on startup, so if your opponent is too close to you and is constantly, pressuring you, you can use it to relieve some of that pressure and get them off of you. The triangle version, or the slash version, hits only once, while the heavy slash version hits twice. However, it loses to throws, so only use it if the opponent isn't at point blank range. And here are a few things you can do with Volcanic Viper. Next up, we have Bandit Revolver, a flying knee which can be followed up with a spin kick. Properties include follow-up kick knocks the opponent away on hit, high knockback on the follow-up kick provides strong corner carry and leads into a meaty far slash from anywhere, but it's pretty bad on mid-screen. I would say avoid using the initial attack, the wall stick, so that the wall can be broken by a strong ender, like 5H, 6H, 6S, Fafnir, and Tyrant Ray. And here's what you can do with Soul's Bandit Revolver. Next up, we have Soul's Bandit Brain. Soul Badguy floats through the air before delivering a diving punch onto the opponent. It hits overhead, but is very reactable to someone's anti-air, so be careful on how you use it. And its properties include the air version can be delayed by holding K, slight ground bounce upon hit, and hard knockdown upon landing. And here's what you can do with Soul's Bandit Brain. Next up, we have Wild Throw, Soul's command grab. Soul walks up to the opponent, grabs them, and slams them on the ground for massive damage. Properties include Grow Invincible during startup, switches sides on hit, and hard knockdown on hit. I'd say I personally had difficulties, comboing into this one. So I'd probably wait until the opponent was on the ground, then do the command grab when they're about to get back up. But anyway, there are a few things you can do with Soul's Wild Throw. Next on our list is Night Raid Vortex. Soul Badguy rushes forward, low on the ground, and delivers an uppercut when he's close to the opponent. Properties include cannot be special cancelled from any move, can extend the range by holding slash, low profiles until the attack comes out, which means that he dodges a lot of projectiles, launches opponent on hit, and hard knockdown upon land. And while special cancels aren't available, regular cancels are. You can combo directly into close slash, though 5k is the better option when used. And here are some things you can do with Night Raid Vortex. Last and certainly not least, we have Soul Badguy's Fafnir. Soul Badguy lunges forward half screen with a flaming straight punch. Properties include cannot be special cancelled from any move, ground bounces on hit, hard knockdown upon landing, Soul's strongest wall break, guard crush on block, leaving Soul at frame advantage. On hit, it bounces the opponent back, allowing for a vortex follow-up. And as Soul's strongest wall ender, should probably be used at the end of a combo. But here's what you can do with Soul Badguy's Fafnir. Overdrives. Like all characters in the game, Soul Badguy has a list of special moves that can help him change the tide of battle and secure a victory. And even though he's the protagonist, he only has 2 overdrives. First among Soul's overdrives is his Tyrant Raid, where Soul does a uppercut followed by a fiery straight punch. Properties include fully invincible during startup, hits twice, the first launches the opponent, and the second hit knocks them away, hard knockdown upon landing. It's mainly used as Soul's primary high damage combo ender, and will force a wall break upon touching the opponent. And here's what you can do with Soul's Tyrant Raid. And the last 2 of Soul's overdrive is the Heavy Mob Cemetery, where Soul activates his dragon install before lunging full screen. If the opponent is hit, Soul drags them into the air, dives into the ground, and slams them, creating an explosion. This move cannot be blocked, and you cannot hit Soul out of it until the animation is finished. Unfortunately, this is kind of your last desperation move because people rarely get hit by it. But here's what you can do with Heavy Mob Cemetery. Geez, I never realized how many special moves a character actually has. And apparently, according to OG GuiltyGear players, they took out certain moves for Soul. So this video could have been that much longer. But enough digressing, let's get down to tips as well as bread and butter. From playing Soul, I've come up with a few tips to help you along the way. First off, his jump slash can be jump cancelled into Bandit Bringer, so hold K in order to catch the opponent off guard and stay in the air for that much longer to land a hit. With that being said, however, Bandit Bringer can be interrupted before it becomes active with a strong anti-air or close slash, so make sure that your timing is on point. And the first punch in Soul Badguy's Tyrant Rave can be interrupted if you have a sweep, or a sweep that hits long enough, like Chip Sweep or Giovanna's. So make sure you actually connect the attack and not give the opponent the opportunity to interrupt your special. For bread and butter, Soul Badguy is a close range brawler. You're going to want to keep the pressure up with his powerful slash buttons. If you get close, use far slash. I know I made a joke about it, but it is one of the most optimal things to do, as well as Fafnir, so that you'll have a frame advantage and start your offense. If you're mid-screen, I would say low 2 slash, S slash, or 6 heavy slash, and or gun flame to help you get in while not, taking a hit. And lastly, if you're at the end of the screen, Night Raid Vortex is probably your only option. So I'd probably use it when you have a Roman cancel available. And if you are in a tight spot and under your opponent's pressure, use your Volcanic Viper or Shoryuken in order to escape and give you some breathing room. As for a summary, I'm gonna have to say I've come to appreciate Soul Badguy's playstyle. I know we make jokes about him being the protagonist and him being overpowered, but you need characters like this in the game. And thankfully, GuiltyGear has 2, Soul and Kai. Now, that being said, there are some things I've learned about Soul from playing. For example, he's not perfect. As much as, his far slash would want to tell you, he does have some weaknesses. And you just have to find them. And one of the things I recommend doing is playing Soul or any other character you don't know in order to, see what they're about, see how they play, and see how others approach them. But that being said, my name's Nurtron. I truly appreciate you watching this video. I worked really hard on it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.